Marissa May, Meredith Howard.
She said she'll be here in a minute. She had to restart her computer.
Meredith did?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Peggy Smith is on vacation. Sabrina, did I hear that you're here?
Yeah, Sabrina's here.
Sandy McDonald?
Here.
Thank you. Tracy Lee, you're here, right?
I don't see her. She should be, but
Yeah, she's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
oh, there.
Victoria Loudon?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we're good for now.
We're good.
We'll need to take it one more time before we're done if we can.
Okay. Do you want to, let's go ahead and talk about the first half of professional development. Sarah, Tanya, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. We, as you all know, we've got our first half of in-field professional development that's due the end of this month. We've got several, but we're still missing about 15 or 16. And like I said, those are due the end of this month to me. And if you need me to send you the form again of what we're looking for, just let me know and I can send you the expectations form.
Okay. Yeah, that's really important that we get the professional development in there. We have to remain in compliance, and it's just really an important piece of what we do. So we all have to stay current and relevant in our fields. That's just what good educators do. And so let's do what we can to bring that. I do want to say I'm really glad to be Vista, and we've got someone that we could meet. I'm hearing a little bit. There we go. I'm really glad to be with Vista. I've been working with Vista for a little while as a consultant. Previously, before joining full time, I was president of Argosy Salt Lake and vice president of academic affairs for Salt Lake and San Francisco. So I traveled back and forth. I worked for Western Governors as the associate provost and for program development. Had a number of jobs. I mean, what took me to Owensboro was I was the provost of Owensboro and Daymar for Daymar College. And again, I've been around and back and through higher education for many years. I actually worked with Veronica, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and worked with Art like in 1998. So we go way back. And Art said, "I really want. Will you come and work with us on some curriculum design and upgrading and some other things that he wants me to accomplish?" And I thought about it, and I'm at a point where I kind of think it's pretty cool to work from home and play my guitar a little more often. Although I'm not sure I'm going to get a chance to do that because it's pretty busy since I started. But I'm really happy to be with Vista College, and we've created a role. We are growing. We're the largest
Been with Vista for about a year now, so pretty familiar again with most of you all and looking forward to the new role.
Yeah, we're sure glad to have you. Susan, would you like to say anything?
Just that, I am really proud to hand to Tracy a program and a team that is, in my opinion, and I am slightly prejudiced, one of the best teams that Vista has. And I still look forward to working with everybody and doing whatever I can to continue to provide a great program for our students.
Well, you guys are doing great, and I'm really proud. Again, proud to be associated with the professionals, and I know you guys are really. This is really a great organization, so it's going to be fun doing some of the things that we're going to do. And so we'll kick that off today with an in-service presentation on a vision that I have for the school. In fact, I was talking to Mike at the corporate office today, the chief academic officer, and he was saying, he wants to do some of the things that we're about to do at the ground campuses. So with that, I'm going to give you a peek into the future. We're going to talk a little bit about where we are with the Canvas implementation, and so we'll go from there. Any questions before I start the in-service portion of the meeting today? Any questions?
The question is there an AR award?
Well, that's about what I was going to do, is talk a little bit about that. So we do have an AR award. That's not exactly easy to get. In fact, if somebody says no, typically we'll not proceed with that award. So we had a number of recommendations, but there's one that's standing out this last time, or during this last term, and that is, ready for the applause? Victoria Loudon, professional studies. She teaches a lot of that. Victoria, you are the the adjunct award. Woo-hoo! Let's see, Carson, are you supposed to? Carson's supposed to do something. I'm not sure what he's supposed to do. This is my first meeting.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm having some technical issues here, so I'm not able to share my screen at the moment. But I do have it, and I'll share it as soon as I can.
Okay, great. Well, it's the big stars and the awards and the trophy. Just imagine that happening. And thank you, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the recognition.
What is it you do that makes it so? Oh, here comes the award. There it is. There it is. Cool.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
One of the reasons you got this is because you helped to improve retention. Any thoughts about what you do in the classroom to keep that retention high?
I do. I have a smiley face on my computer that my daughter drew when she was about, 6 years old. And I keep it there. And when I teach the professional studies course, which is the first course, which is really tough to get students reacclimated to going back to school. Yeah. And so they can be a bit brutal at times just because they're struggling and they're not used to the new pace. So I keep that smiley face and to remind myself that I have to send them a smile through the screen, through my text and letters, just to keep their positive attitude and give them something where they want to come back and see it every day, all the time, so that they stay in contact with me, because that's the biggest key in that very first class that they take, is staying in positive contact with them.
Thank you, Victoria. Go ahead and stop sharing, if you will, Carson. There's a study that just came out. I don't know if any of you read higher ed, but study this came out and it said that basically students who are prepared do very well in school. That doesn't surprise anybody, but particularly in the online environment, if a student is prepared to go to college and know the expectations, they tend to remain or be retained. And so I can't thank you enough for the work you're doing with the professional studies, because it really helps to prepare them. And as a result of that, it's one of the reasons why our retention's getting better. I mean, in the last 6 months, retention has exponentially improved. We still have a ways to go, but with Lydia and Deidre and the work that you all have been doing to help to prepare students so that they know what to expect, but also to help them overcome hurdles and barriers, our retention is getting it's getting quite good, and I'm pretty sure when we're through with what we're doing with the curriculum, the content, and so forth, that we will be right near where ground retention is. And this is a good number in terms of retention for whatever it's worth to you folks. So again, thank you for Victoria, and I want to extend that thank you to Lydia and Deidre and the program chairs for what they're doing. Good things are happening as a result. So here's my vision. I think it's really important in an online environment, a virtual classroom, if you will, which is where we're headed, both synchronous and asynchronous learning. And that is the leading edge, the cutting edge. The thing that's happening now is this, because of technology, we're able to add virtual classrooms like what we're virtual meetings like what we're involved in right now, combined with the asynchronous. If you do that, you're going to find that the experience is better, but there's things you have to do. So overall, my mission or my mission statement is to improve the look, the sound, and the feel of what we do, so that we can greatly enhance student experience. And the good news is Vista's willing to, and has invested in the technology to be able to have a wonderful student experience. We just need to put it all together and tie it and link it properly with our course content and our learning resources. So look, sound, and feel. So let's have a call on you. George, what does an excellent online class look like? What do you think, George?
Can you repeat that? What should an online class look like?
Yeah, an excellent online class should look like what? Just to give me a couple of descriptors, a couple words that you think.
Okay, it should be visually pleasing and appealing and capture people's attention visually.
Good. How about you, Kara? What do you think in terms of a great online class should look like? Kara, what do you think? Kara, are you there? I'll move to Keith. What does an excellent online course look like? What do you think?
I think an excellent online course looks like something that's trackable, that the student can get in, understand their goals, and then track their goals so they can see their progress moving forward.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. How about you, Sherry? What does an excellent online course look like?
Like the progression of clear direction for the student and easy, so they don't have to tap 16 different buttons to get to where they're going because they get tired of that, and that it progresses logically, doesn't skip over things.
Ah, logical. Okay, good. Thank you. So let's try another question.
Can I jump in here, Larry? Can you hear me?
You, Chris. Go ahead. Yes.
I just want to reemphasize what Ann just stated. So many times students will call me or text me or email me complaining about the difficulty of an assignment or how they don't understand the instructions. And they feel like they have to click in a lot of different areas in order to get the information that they need in order to be successful. In my most recent class, I had a student who struggled for the first week to find his book in the online bookshelf. And after a week, simply stopped posting, stopped emailing me, stopped texting with me because he simply became frustrated with the technology. And so what Ann is saying, I would want to support 100%. Thank you.
Oh, no, good. And to all, anybody that thinks of something as we go along with this discussion, jump in, Chris. I'm grateful for that. So I'm gonna go to Glenda. And Glenda, what should an excellent online course sound like? Can't hear you, Glenda.
Can I help, Glenda? I think we should have little mini lectures from all our instructors because it shows our faces, our voices, and they get to hear the terminology.
Good, thank you, Glenda. Oh, can't hear you, Glenda. Can you hear us okay? Oh, you can hear us fine, but she can't. The mic's not working. Well, I'll move to Mr. Guitar there. John, what should it sound like?
I think that.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hold on. John.
Okay.
Hold
I
on.
agree with what Ann was saying. That's like I agree with that. It's important that in the online course that there is still a very strong presence of the instructor in the course. In fact, in the Texas Constitutional newspaper just this week, there was this large article about online courses and how important it is for the teacher to still have a very, very strong presence in the classroom. I think it's good for the students to know your voice as well as be able to put a name with a face.
So you're saying they should hear your voice?
They should hear your voice.
I love that.
Not only in the classroom, but one-on-one when you're talking to them on the telephone. I also think the way it should sound too, you should also try to create a community where they can hear each other's voices, the students' voices.
Right.
So, yeah, because a lot of times we forget about that, that the students need to be able to talk to each other, even though it is online. Yeah.
But they can, right? They can communicate. John, back to you. Thanks, Glenda. That's good. I actually wrote that one. I love that, the one quote. But go ahead, John. What should it sound like? Should not sound like a distorted guitar with phaser on. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say.
Okay.
I think that aside from it being able to emulate classroom where you have an exchange back and forth, and there's the natural voice and sort of things and whatnot that help you emphasize ideas. But also we can take advantage of other sources of sound, lectures, the recordings of, say, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, which is one of the assignments in the class I'm teaching. They review the written copy of it, but for them to have an easy access to the audio or video or whatever is another way, it seems to me, like we can enhance the sound of the classroom.
Very good, very good. Let's try Davia. Is that how I say it, Davia?
It is Davia.
There you are. You're in two places. Okay, Davia. What is an excellent course? What should it sound like?
I think that there should be a lot of back and forth communication, a lot of dialogue between the students, pretty much what everyone else was saying, a lot of dialogue between the student and the instructor and within themselves. I think that it would be great to have a great communication where students can actually get to know each other a little bit more.
Beautiful. I've got grandchildren that are making noise. I'm in a meeting. All right, I'm back with you. So let's take it another direction. Ron, what do you think about how should it feel, an online class? What would an excellent online class feel like? Ron, are you there? Ron, I've got a phone on hang up. No? Okay, I'll move to Monica. What would it feel like? Monica?
I'll jump in. This is Tracy.
Okay, Tracy, go for
Can you
it.
hear? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now, Monica. Hold on. Tracy's going to answer, and then I'll call you. Tracy, what do you think it should feel like?
Well, I think it should feel as if there is active learning going on. So if someone were to look at that classroom, they can see that there's, activity going on, there's learning going on, that all students at some point have chimed in and are free to, discuss and learn what's going on in the classroom without feeling as if, you see, high activity posts from, a large amount of students, and then you see 2 or 3 that have, gone missing. So active, everybody's engaging in the learning process.
So in an online course, can you have a feel? Do you have a feel?
I think so. Yeah, with you can look at the discussion board and see who's active, who's not. Currently, we can see, when was the last time a student posted, or when was the last time anybody really checked in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at assignments, who's turning in their assignments. If we had a chat box, for instance, you could see who was chatting,
Cool. Monica, what do you think an online course should feel like? What do you think?
An online course should feel welcoming.
It
should feel welcoming to the students. You want them to be able to feel like they can come in and they can get the work done and ask questions when they need to ask questions. You want them to feel like they're besides welcoming, you want to feel like it's open for discussion as well. I have some students that come into the classroom. They're like, oh, I didn't know I can post that. Oh, I didn't know I can say that to that student. And they can, but that comes with welcoming, just letting them know that they are welcome to ask questions. They are invited to the class. You want them to be that student that wants to interact, but you also have to let them know that they're welcome and that you're in tune and you're ready to see them learn and focus on the goal in which they have. So open is the biggest thing. And
that's good. That's
yes.
good. That's good, Monica. Thank you. Ron, I see your mic's open. Do you want to comment on the field?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No
It
problem.
turned it off.
It happens.
I think it should feel fun. I think the students should have an opportunity to make the practicality of what you're teaching fun. And also inventive, not inventive, but just try to make it more than just work. Try to explain to them how things will help them in the future.
Awesome. Other comments? Look, sound, and feel.
This is Ann again. I comment on everything usually.
That's great.
I'm very kinetic because much of what we teach in medicine is so vital for spelling and understanding how to use terms. And I know that's true for criminal justice and other things as well. So I think having them do something fun, like I think we're going to be able to in Canvas, is do a crossword puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
So they can actually spell the words together and we can say them wrong and say them right. And they can feel that sensation of learning as a group and understanding how it impacts patients.
Beautiful. Great comments. So I think you're going to really like what you're what we're going to talk about and show you today. But use this look, sound, and feel. Use that as a test as you're looking at your class, as you're hearing a class, reading the comments, and feel. Use it as a gauge to help you to improve the virtual classroom or the overall student experience of an online course. You can do a lot, particularly with our new LMS that we're coming out with. You're going to have more power, more things that you can do. You can do video introductory statements. You can do a video thing in like less than a minute. You can put it into your classroom. It's really awesome. And if you don't know how to do that, we're going to train you how to do that. But a lot of the things you're talking about, I think you're going to see in what we're about to implement and introduce into Vista College. I would say look, sound, and feel is just a really important, whatever you want to call it, a test. So what I like to do, and I've taught for, I don't know, 18 years an online course, something like that. And what I like to do is I like to say, well, how did this week look? What did it look like? What did it sound like to the students? What did it feel like? And I just try to use that as a gauge all the time, trying to improve my delivery. So I'll share with you a couple of things. One, my dissertation is on learning through technology, particularly blended learning. And I thought the combination of meeting on ground and then X amount of work online would be a better learning experience and environment for students. And so I sampled over 1,000 people, University of Phoenix students in California, Utah, and Colorado, and Arizona. And I sampled blended, I sampled 100% online, I sampled ground. And the survey came back, statistically significant research in my dissertation that said this, that it doesn't matter whether it's blended, online, or ground. What we want is quality prompt feedback from faculty, and we want to see the faculty engaged in the course. So you really matter when you're delivering a course in terms of look, sound, and feel. You make or break that experience, and you really do. And they never can do away with a faculty. There is that one single variable. If you're providing prompt feedback and if you're engaged with the students, they don't care if it's online, they don't care if it's ground, and they don't care if it's digital textbook. It can be interactive, and we'll show you in a little bit of a couple of examples of that. It's called EPUB 3 if you want to know, but basically I can put videos and all kinds of crazy things into the text, and it's a little more engaging scenario. So micro-learning, highly focused. Another way of saying it, the 20 that equals the 80, not everything. You know how it is with some of these books. You get all the books and, you know, you don't use very much of it, or sometimes we try to get them to do too much. Somebody mentioned too much, and that's a barrier. So let's talk a little bit about it. My vision is to remove those barriers to student success by making sure that we have a look, sound, and feel. And there are three primary barriers in learning. Anybody want to take a guess on what the number one barrier to learning is? Take a guess. Anybody?
Technology.
It can be, but it's not the answer. Neil, you have one? Barrier to learning. This is number one. What?
Time.
Time.
Well, I'll keep going. We're still a ways away.
Motivation.
Focus.
Focus. Okay.
Communication.
Now, Glenda, you're on the right track. What about communication?
Oh, that wasn't me. I said focus. Who said?
Oh, that was Tracy.
Tracy.
This was Tracy Easton.
Tracy, you're on the right track. What about?
Yes. I guess with communication, someone gave the example earlier. Students can become frustrated and they don't communicate their frustration and just give up, perhaps.
Reading comprehension is really poor. I had to explain consonants and vowels this week to a student.
Right. Right.
If they don't know what a vowel is, it's not going to work.
So here's what happens with words like run, for example. A simple little 3-letter word has 26 different meanings if you go and look it up in the Webster dictionary. Okay. And so words are meaning, and so you have to be very, very careful with your words. That can be a big barrier. And in fact, the research is clear. Here's what will happen if they are reading along and they see a word, an adult learner, and they see a word they don't understand, they kind of just stop and they don't keep going. They kind of get stuck, and some students will go, "Hey, Glenda, what does this mean?" But most won't, because they don't want to look like they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the research is clear that many of them will just say, "Well, it's too hard, I don't understand it," and they'll leave. That's a big, big barrier, and something we have to be very aware of.
No, I do find that in my classes, words that I would think that my students would look up. I mean, they have the World Wide Web right there, which now I'm telling my age, I didn't have early on in college.
Right.
But you would think we use dictionaries, right?
Right.
They would pick up, they would Google or, look up a word that they don't know, and it's right there.
So see, you can help, right? Like in your class, if you post and say, if you're not sure what the word is, just do a quick Google search.
Do a quick Google, and that's what I do.
Yeah, I do it all the time, because it's amazing how much that single thing, and Carson and Veronica and I and Kimberly, we were working on student orientation, and some of the words that came up, I went, "Oh, God, I think you're assuming they know, and you can't." So
yeah.
That's the number one barrier, and you can control that. You can make a big difference on that by clearing it, by how you deal with it in a discussion question or posting or whatever you're doing. So what's the number 2 barrier? What do you think?
This is Dan, a fellow WG alumni. So,
cool.
So I think one of the things that I noticed a lot of my students struggle with that I appreciated at WG a lot was very clear goals and expectations.
Okay.
And then a path to get there. But I don't know if that's a...
Well, you're kind of here, but the number, what do you think it is? What do you think it is?
How about confidence?
Confidence, that's, those are all factors for sure. I can... What is it, Davia?
Is it the sense of belonging? That they're a part of a team, a part of a school?
So the barrier is, I'll pick on John, okay? John, you're a guitar player. And years ago, I was a guitar teacher, right? And that there's like 1 out of 6 people are musicians in this country. And I don't know how many guitars there are in the closet, but I will tell you that
That's what am I.
Yeah, you know, the guitar player, well, they'll go and they'll take their first lesson and, oh, good, I can play a G chord. It's really easy. It sounds good. Oh, I'm excited. And the teacher will teach that. Week 2, they come in and they try to teach the F bar chord. Well, John, how hard is it to play the F bar chord in week 2?
A whole lot harder than playing that G chord.
It's way hard. It takes lots of people a long time to get the bar chord down. It's a really important chord, and it's necessary that they learn it. But teaching it in week 2 is a little bit too early because it discourages students, and they put their guitars in the closet. Same thing in coursework. We've got to be careful how we introduce the topics and bring it into students. If we bring it in too fast, they get frustrated. The research is clear. I don't want to be stupid. I can't do this. So then what happens? They drop or they, don't do well. So that's the number 2. Number 3 barrier would be what? And these are the top 3 barriers that I'm keeping in mind as we revise and upgrade our courses for look, sound, and feel for student experience. So, I'm just giving that to you by way of background. So what's the number 3? Anybody? Take a guess, Sherry. What's number 3?
This is Ron Reinhardt. Maybe organization.
Okay, that can be. Yeah, can be.
Or the sense of inclusion.
Good.
What about moving the student too fast?
That's that gradient thing that we talked about.
Okay.
The bar chord, that's number 2. Yeah, that's really critical.
How about lack of quality feedback or lack of access to quality feedback?
That you know what, I like that feedback because I'll talk to you about that in a minute. I'm parking that thought. Anybody else?
Feeling of connection with the instructor.
Connection.
A lack of. Yeah.
Time management.
Okay, all those things are part of it, but the barrier is this. So, years ago, I bought a digital audio recorder, a Yamaha. It really cost me a lot of money. It was really good. It came with this big old fat book. And
like a reading?
Yeah, it had a book, and digital recording is really an art and a science. I mean, it takes a lot to learn how to really do this stuff, and because this thing is not like a tape recorder. This is like really intense stuff, right? And I bought the book and I read it, and I couldn't work a dang thing. I mean, I paid $5,000 for this Yamaha digital recorder. It was awesome. It has good sound, and I mean, I could play the demo tape out of the thing, but I couldn't go anywhere to put it together. I'd read the book, it doesn't make sense, and really, it took me 3 years to finally figure out how to use my $5,000 device. In other words, the disconnect is taking what you're reading and connecting it, touching it, putting it together. And that's a little bit of a challenge in an online course for sure. But then again, there are things you can do these days with simulation, with gamification, with, all kinds of things that that are available so that they can really get the feel, right? Really get the feel. And that's the challenge. It isn't just good enough to say, read the book, and then take a quiz. It isn't good enough. Even having a talk, there's something about hands touching or the real thing sort of being there to kind of put it together somehow or another. So those are the barriers, and that's what we're working towards removing. And how we will do that is through a couple of things. One, micro-learning. Instead of loading them down with everything, read these 5 chapters or whatever. Instead of being APA Nazis, talk about how to write a really good college paper, but, these are career college students. They're probably, most of them are not going to have to face the APA guideline, chunking it down to the really important things that it's the vital few elements that are needed to master the objective and meet the outcome. It's not the trivial many. So that's what we mean by microlearning. It's about introducing the concept of independent assessment. Notice I didn't say test. I said assessment. Assessment for mastery of the objectives and the outcomes, so that you will get a report that you can look at and say, oh, Mary Jane needs some help over here. She's doing great over here. And you can talk to the student and say, look at you go, girl, man, you got this all down. To improve, you might want to pay attention to this, and you'll have the evidence to show them. So that's what we're doing with what we're doing in terms of the evidence-based business program that we're about to launch.
Hey, Larry.
Yes.
I think that sounds great. I had a question for you about not having to be an APA Nazi.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Are you going to have the APA requirement removed from grading rubrics and such so that we don't feel like we must penalize them if they don't use it?
You know, I don't know exactly what Vista College has, but you know, we're going to expect a well-written college paper, not an APA that you lose all the points because you don't know the whole thing that you're never going to use as a career college student anyway. You know, so we'll have to spend some time on that. I don't know if I answered your question. I've got to learn more about what we have, right? And so, the other part we're introducing is this concept of independent learning assessment, which is learning analytics. So we can get the analytics because we live in a data-driven world, a digital world where we can really mentor students for success. The introduction of Canvas, Dropout Detective, the introduction of assessment, not tests, assessment for mastery of outcomes, the introduction of some of the stuff we're doing that Kimberly is going to show you today is going to help us to collect the data so that we can inform ourselves, inform you of where they're learning, where they're not. We can look at it and say, hey, you know what? This learning resource sucks. Let's get rid of it because we see that. We can mentor the students by showing them where they need to go and how well they're doing that. How well they're doing, half glass, half full, really is a builder of confidence. Somebody mentioned confidence earlier as a barrier. It is. And the whole idea of being able to show employers that these folks are really competent graduates is a good thing. Not to mention the accreditors are now demanding more and more evidence of mastery of outcomes, student outcomes. And so that's what we're doing. Let me, I'm going to share my screen and stop there for a moment. Any questions so far? I know I'm giving you a lot, but I think it might help you to understand, you know, the more things change, the more they don't. And all that's really happened with technologies is we still, the teacher, the faculty member is needed. That has not gone away and will never go away. But technology's made it possible for us to do things better, much better, because of the data analytics, faster, for less money, and in a more meaningful or deeper way. Student success is what we all are concerned with. I know that's your motivation and that's what you want to have happen. To do that, we'll incorporate 21st century technology into our learning model. And man, when you see what comes out of Canvas, you're going to die. It's just so good, you know. So it's making it so we have the information just like that we can show students or inform ourselves. Our programs will be synchronized with industry expectations. In other words, we start from the employer in terms of building objectives and outcomes. We don't start from some faculty member saying, you know, here's the objectives. And we don't jury rig a course to a book, meaning sometimes we get a book and it doesn't really have what we need, but we put the learning objectives so they're tied to the book, which don't necessarily align with industry expectations. Evidence of outcomes we'll be doing through ExamSoft technology, skills according to standards. And the MIBC world does that pretty well now, and the IT world does that now. But we're going to make sure that we've got that all cross board, and assess for mentoring students and faculty, really dynamic, engaging learning resources. Employers want evidence of skills and knowledge. Accreditors want it, and so do the politicians. We all know that, I think, if you've been in higher education. They want it, and there is a major trend or shift towards outcome-based measurements. Not only in higher education, in healthcare. Healthcare, this performance-based funding movement probably will gain more and more in the years already affecting those in the healthcare industry. What is evidence-based learning? It's programs and outcomes and skills that are identified by employers. We have PAC committees. It's not that we don't. We do, but basically we'll have faculty. You have outcomes that you know are important to the course. There's current literature. We will inform ourselves of current literature. We'll use SMEs and we'll use PAC committees to really align these outcomes to what needs to happen. You can see the process. So if you had to look at what we're doing, faculty, assessments to mentor and adjust. What I mean by adjust and what I mean by mentor is to be able to really talk to the students. You get a report that says, hey, they don't understand some particular concept, the whole class. Well, then you can adjust your discussion question, or you might even pull a synchronous meeting and say, hey, we're going to talk about this because it looks like a few of you need some help with it and with this area. You'll actually be able to see that. Engaging resources are really critical, and I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. You know, this is nothing new, but it is excellent curriculum design, is what instructional design, and this whole idea of evidence-based learning has been going on for years in the nursing field and the law field. This is nothing new. It's just spreading throughout all programs. And it happens to be something that is really in vogue. You might ask, well, why aren't we calling it competency-based learning? Because there are issues with the Department of Education. There are issues with for-profit educators. There's a lot of tricky things and misunderstanding. Competency-based learning is really misunderstood depending on who you're talking to. So what we will do is take the good parts of competency-based learning and the good parts of what we do now, because we do good work now, it's not that we don't, and take us to what Veronica said, the next level, so that we're just better. And that's the idea. So I'll provide this set of slides for you later, but you can take a look. What it is. This will be an example of the kind of information that we will be able to share. Like this is I don't remember, I think it's a building and coding class. And so like what you're looking at when you look at this thing is you can see that the class 92% mastery of that particular objective. And yet here, you know, how to accurately fill out CMS 1500, and I don't know if that's important or not.
Very important.
Very? Okay.
Very,
very important.
Very important.
Well, you can see that this group didn't get it, right? We should have 66, 70% plus mastery, right?
Yes.
So see how this is informing you so that you can go back in and say, look, guys, this is really important. We need to work on this.
So, very important.
Okay, you'll be able to look at the students with these assessments, and this is not an assessment on you and your teaching. This is an assessment on what they know what they don't know. And these objectives were designed by you and by SMEs and by others. And you can see that, Jessica is probably doing pretty well, because when you're assessing mastery of the outcomes, it isn't that they have to get 100%. It is somewhere around 2/3 mastery and 1/3. I mean, it's normal, right? So you look at Allison here at 43%, she's struggling a little bit, right? Okay, and so you can go in and coach and mentor her, because we want our students to be successful. This is what evidence-based learning is all about, is we can look at the various things and just have the kind of power from the analytics that helps us to just do our jobs better. Make sense, everybody?
Makes good sense. In fact, just this week, I've been talking with, can you hear me?
Yes,
Just this week, I've been talking with a HR recruiter for a company, and she told me, she shared with me that because she knew I teach, she wanted me to send her some students. Yes, for their coding program. And this type of information would help me to know which ones that are ready for me to send. I knew of 3 that I could possibly send, and I've been talking to them. They've been in previous classes. I've been working with them with their resumes and helping them to write their cover letter for a reference for me. But that type of information, the program, she told me, the HR recruiter told me that it's a program where they would go through a accelerated coding training type course, but of course they still have to know the basics, such as knowing what a 1500 HCFA 1500 form is, what you were just doing. They have to know those things. They go through some accelerated training, but they still have to know the basics to be able to come into the job. It's a job. It's not just a program. They'll go through a crash course of 6 weeks of training where they will be actually audited and working with a mentor like myself, and then they will go right into the job.
Right. Very good. Thank you. Well, this is called evidence-based learning. You get the idea. It's an ambitious goal, but the good news is, here's the really good news. The good news is, let me just stop this for a second. The good news is Vista College is invested in the technology to be able to do that. We've been trained in ExamSoft, which is a very powerful assessment software that we'll be including. We've got Dropout Detective, we've got Canvas, the analytics coming there. I mean, we're about to give you the tools that will take us to the next level. Again, we can't do this without you. You are the key. It always does boil down to what you do in the classroom, whether that be online, virtual classroom, or on ground. I'm going to give you another example here. I'm going to go and share. I'll give you another look here. Come on, computer. What's going on here? My computer doesn't want to stop. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get that out of the way. So here's an example of an interactive textbook. It's called EPUB 3 is the technology behind it. All of our courses eventually will have learning objects like this one, where it's nice and clean. Let me get this going here. And I'll play this. This is one we're doing right now. Can you see that, everybody? So you'll be able to go through this thing. It's very clean, and we'll get up here and we'll go, it's just to the point, not a lot of reading. We're trying to say, how do you write a good paper? And then we'll include videos. Can you watch this one? Do things like this. How to write a 10-page paper.
Hi, this is Laura Turner, and today we're going to talk about how to write at the end of your rope, and you have to write your entire paper in one night, and it has to be 10 pages long. Look at me and listen to my advice. Focus on quality, not quantity. Your professor...
Do you see the idea? see where we're going? Video, writing, really focused, clear. My mission, look, sound, and feel for an excellent student experience. That's what we're setting out to do. We will launch our evidence-based business diploma program here probably, if it's not this month, it'll be next month. We're just waiting for TWC approval, and then we'll move through all of your courses, and to use Veronica's words, take it to the next level. Sherry, you were in some of the training and have had some of the discussions. Would you like to add anything?
Not particularly. I think that you've done a great job of going through it all. I think it's really exciting to know the changes that are taking place.
Thank you. Kimberly, anything you'd like to add?
I agree with Sherry. I'm very excited about the new direction that we're going in with you, and I'm looking forward to working with you and getting everything going.
Well, likewise, and so we're gonna. What I want to do now is I just wanted to plant seeds today, and I want you to. If there's anything you take away today, it is look, sound, and feel. Remove those 3 barriers. Do your best. You can do that, and then I wanted to give you a peek under the hood of evidence-based learning and where we're headed. Hopefully, that I've accomplished that. Again, I can't do any of this stuff without the technology. And the good news is Carson and Kimberly are well down the road on technology. So Carson, you want to talk about Canvas and where we're at? If you would, you there?
Yeah, I'll be brief. Essentially Canvas, we're a go. So Canvas will be rolled out for this next term. Dirk and I currently are working on enrolling everybody, all students, both new and active students, into the new student orientation. In fact, we'll add all of you into the new student orientation as well, because it has changed quite a bit. Like Larry mentioned, it's the look, sound, and feel has changed quite a bit as well. So look for that. You'll see that coming shortly on your dashboard, and you should get an email invite as well. Everything looks really good and seems to be going well. So we're pretty excited on that end.
Hey, Carson, this is David. When do we see the classes being loaded for next term so we can get the checklist done?
Well, we've got, I believe, Kimberly, the courses are done now, aren't they? They're all updated?
Yes, they're all updated with the look and feel. However, there are some tweaks that you and I will be working on tomorrow together. I know that it's getting close, guys, but with changeover, of course, we had to rebuild each course, for lack of a better word, for the June term. So if you just be patient with me, you'll have them by the weekend. That is my goal. Actually, my goal was for today, but it didn't happen. There are some exciting things. Larry, can I go ahead and talk about?
Oh, please. Why don't you show them just an example of, it's a mild form of gamification, but rather than a quiz, look at what Kimberly's done. Do you want to show?
Yes, I'm going to share. Okay, let me go to the new student orientation. This is the quiz that they will take at the, actually, I want to start it over. I'm sorry, guys. Let me start it over.
You've been playing with it today.
I have. We were testing it. Oops.
It's called scavenger hunt, not quiz.
Right. So it's a quiz over what they learned and what the students learned in the orientation. Uh-oh. Oh, that's because it was the end. Sorry.
Are you in Canvas now?
I am. Can you see my screen? It is
there it is.
loaded in the orientation. And so this takes them through a different set of questions for each level over the information in the orientation.
So it is a quiz, but it's just a little bit more interactive and fun, right?
Exactly. And you'll start to see a little bit more of this. Sherry has started using this type of quizzing in some of her courses. Her knowledge checks will consist of these type of storyline quizzing. And then for you guys, instead of submitting to me a paper checklist all the time, I've created something that's engaging. Carson and I are working on the responses at the end of the quiz, but it's an interactive survey where you would just do your course preview checklist like this and fill in your information, submit, and it goes through all of the questions, and it shows you the screenshots of where you can find the information that you're supposed to be reviewing. So, and it's just a series of things. So what do you think, guys?
Thanks, Kimberly.
I am super excited about this.
it. Yeah, me too.
Looks good. Looks great.
I like your avatar too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is excellent. This is definitely in the right direction of where I
You
see
have an
the students
avatar.
really participating in.
Cool. Well, Kimberly, do you want to stop sharing?
Yes.
So I can see all their faces? There we go.
Yeah.
There we
Like
go.
avatar.
So as I said before, we still have some tweaking to do. Just mind you that because we're transitioning into a new LMS, there's a lot to be done. We're working as fast and as efficiently as possible. So again, by this weekend, my goal, and I will continue to work towards getting you guys the courses 2 weeks before the start, after this start. So thank you for your patience.
Oh, Kimberly, you're doing such a great job on that. It's very impressive. Carson, anything else to add?
No, I don't think so, but you will receive some more information from us as we get closer. So feel free to shoot any questions our way once you get in and you're looking at your courses. And we'll just kind of take it case by case and get everyone in and comfortable.
So to summarize, we're going to try and launch the courses to the faculty by the weekend, right?
Right.
So that everybody can get in there. If you haven't been in and played with Carson's Access, you probably need to do it. If you already use Canvas, you know what it is. It's different because there's more power and there's a lot of good things about it. But I liken it to driving a car. You know, I haven't driven a Mercedes, but I have a BMW. And if I got into the BMW, I knew where the light switch was, right? We're getting actually Moodle, we're moving from a Toyota Camry probably to a Mercedes or a BMW. You get into that car.
Hey, let's not rip on the Toyotas.
Well, I love Camrys. Best car I've ever had. Okay, but what happens is
Don't rip on a car, rip on the Chevys.
Point is I get in, and in my own car, I know where the light switch. I know it has lights, but I know where the light switch. If I get into the Mercedes, I know it has headlights, but I might not know where the.
Yeah.
Larry, we've lost your audio.
I
thought it was just me.
What's that?
I said we lost your audio, but
Oh,
I thought
did
it was
you?
just me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can hear you now, though.
Okay. All right. Well, my point is just get in there and figure out where the freaking light switch is, and you'll be just fine because there's a lot of similarities. You know, so I think we're to the end of the meeting. Are there any questions that you might have?
Can we expect additional reporting to go away or to be as user-friendly as what Kimberly has shown us?
User friendly. There will be some things that will be, some of the things will be auto, like when we do the assessments, they're auto graded. Some of the quizzes are auto graded. Some of the reporting is going to be easier. I mean, we anticipate even things like attendance entry being auto done, and we still have to make that process work, but there's just a whole lot of things that are going to get a lot easier so that you can spend your time on doing what you do best, talking and mentoring students and connecting with those students, you know, so that'll be really good. That's our goal. Hope that answers your question. Other questions? Well, Veronica, we're about to log off here. Any comments?
No comment. Just a great meeting as always. I love the 444.
Awesome. I am so excited to work with you. I look forward. Don't hesitate to reach out and talk or, ask questions. I may not have the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'll find it, but we're a team. And my goal is really honestly to make it so that I remove the barriers from your success, from anything that's preventing you from doing what I know you want to do, which is an excellent student experience. So thank you for being here this day and this time, and we'll see you next 444. Talk to y'all later.
See you later, Larry.